This battle is brought to you by our channel members and FLGS partners, Warpfire Minis and X-Planet.
Hello and welcome to Season of War. We're playing Combat Patrol today, so this is like the skirmish, small scale size of 40K, the best way to onboard. We did get Leviathan, the box set from Dane's Workshop, so we have been working on getting this stuff painted up and on the table and ready to play. Ryan, you and Zach have both been playing a ton of 40K over the years, so I'm slowly getting roped into it, but excited to dabble and test it out a little bit and have some fun with some aliens and guns. And I do also want to give a special thank you to Lionel over at X-Planet who lent us the terrain to play these early games as we're just getting started, and honestly want to hear feedback from you guys if you enjoy the reports. Different style, obviously different game, but bringing our format over to 40K, so hopefully people enjoy it. But jumping right into the mission, we're playing Forward Outpost, so this is one of the Combat Patrol specific missions. There's 4 objectives on the table. There's 5 points for each of the center ones for primary points, 10 for your opponent's home objective, none for your own, but also if you control your opponent's home objective, they can't
command reroll.
Yeah, can't use command reroll, so interesting. We'll see if that has, what kind of an impact that has, I guess. Ryan, want to talk us through your Combat Patrol first?
Sure. So I'm Space Marines. I've got a big unit of Terminators, and then they're led by my Librarian. He's fantastic because in the unit he gives small sustained hits 1, which is just awesome. And then I have the Infernus Squad. They're just doing their thing. They're hiding under this building here. And then I also have a Captain in the sky, and he's got the Duelist enhancement, which gives him precision strike. But yeah, he's deep striking right now. As for my secondary, I will score 5 points every time I take an objective that you control.
Nice. And then for myself, I'm obviously playing the other half of the Leviathan box. I'm playing Tyranids here today. I've got the Winged Tyranid Prime as my sole leader in this detachment. We've got 2 units of 10 Termagants. I've got a unit of 3 Von Ryan's Leapers who hopefully will be doing some lethal damage this game. And then I have a Psychophage and a unit of 5 Barbgons, which are going to be kind of my backfield support, shooting you down from afar, hopefully slowing you down as well, especially those Terminators who are a little scary. And for my secondary objective, I have Chitness Tide, which is to control an objective within 6 of your deployment zone. Extra incentive on this mission to do it, and yeah, hopefully I can get over there. But we can then, I guess, just jump right into the roll. Ryan, to see who goes first.
I got 2.
That's a 5. I don't think that's what I wanted, but we're gonna jump into Tyranids turn 1.
Come at me, bro.
Determined to devour this world, the Tyranids rush forwards to gain ground and close with their foe, while also laying claim to both of the central objectives. The Barbgons are first to open fire, and while the Infernus Marines use Gene-Rot Resilience, they still suffer 3 damage. The first unit of Termagants shoots but deals no damage. Then the second unit deals 1 whole wound to the Terminators. Relying on their innumerable hordes and hardened carapace, the unending Xenos threat has made the first move. Let's see what the Emperor's finest can do to respond.
So turn 1 for the Tyranids, and I did the best I could. I didn't want turn 1. Would have rather you move up, get around a shooting, avoid you for a turn, and then engage. So I obviously had to kind of come out in the open, so I pushed all my Termagants forward to try and just kind of swarm there, make it hard for you to take that from me. And then putting the Psychophage on that side, because that side's a little harder for you to take. Your Flamers don't really want to be going into the Psychophage, and that's basically it. Kind of opened up. The Tyranid Prime has Lone Operative, so he's safe out there. So even if somehow you killed all the Termagants, you can't, can't shoot him. So fairly all right with the way things are. A little bit of early damage. There's obviously Combat Patrol, small scale game. We don't have a ton of volatile output. And yeah, we're just, I guess, waiting to see how the battle unfolds. Jump into Space Marines turn 1.
Unfazed by the early fire from their Xenos enemy, the Space Marines target the Barbgons with Oath of Moment. The Terminator Librarian targets the Barbgaunts with his focused witchfire, taking out 2 of the aliens. The rest of the Terminators split their fire, and while they take down another Barbgaunt, they fail to deal any damage to the Termagants. The Infernus Marines aim their Pyre Blasters at the Psychophage, but their fire isn't able to pierce its armored shell. While focused on taking down their foe's long-range fire support, the Marines are unable to shift the Tyranids from either central objective.
All right, so my turn went okay, not great. I just kind of moved my forces up. There was just no way I was going to get to the objectives on turn 1. Marines are just too slow.
Yeah, they're very spread out.
Yeah, so I tried to light up the Psychophage with the Flamers because that's the only thing in range. Because you had slowed me down with those guys, it was a problem. They got a couple wounds through, even though they were wounding on 6s, but he saved them both, so that was the end of that. Terminators split their fire. Everything that could shoot Barbgaunts did, and they were my oaths of the moment target. That part went okay. Probably
Killed 3.
Yeah, could have killed 3. Could have gone a little better, but I was okay with 3. And then the 3 other Terminators went into the Termagants, and they managed to fail 70% of their wound rolls on a 3+.
Yeah.
So
I made a few good saves too, which helps. So
yep. So they didn't manage to kill a single guy. So that was unfortunate because
from the Gaunts, they killed a Barbgaunt.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I was hoping to thin you out a little bit more on my first turn, but it's not the end of the world. I'm in a fine position. I'm not in a dangerous spot. So yeah, I guess we'll push into Tyranid turn 2.
Sounds good.
Weathering their foe's firepower, the Tyranids remain in control of the 2 central objectives and score 10 points. As they draw ever closer to their prey, the bugs are hoping they'll be able to pierce and overwhelm the Marines' stout defenses. The Terminators use Gene-Rot Resilience as the Psychophage unleashes its torrent, but it doesn't manage to deal any damage to them. The Barbgaunts also shoot at the Terminators and similarly deal no damage, but they do at least slow them down with their disruption bombardment. Hoping to sneak a few wounds through their armor, both units of Termagants fire at the Terminators, but neither is able to deal any damage. Hoping for more success in combat, the Psychophage charges in and fights the Infernus Marines, but it still doesn't deal any damage. The Infernus Marines retaliate, but also fail to deal even a single wound. Despite failing to take down any foes, the Tyranids have reinforced their position, and it'll be a tough task for the Marines to shift the tide of bugs.
Well, Tyranids turn 2 was good on the scoreboard. Got 10 primary here, and kind of moved up, flooded the board, trying to tie you up a little bit. That's basically it. I didn't do anything too exciting. I, in fact, did absolutely 0 damage in my turn. 20 shots from the Termagants, the Psychophage, and the Barbgaunts. Did no combined damage, though I slowed down the Terminators this turn.
Which is huge, because they're 3-inch movement now, which is kind of pitiful.
Yeah, so that's not great for a lot of reasons. And yeah, again, good place in scoring, but I'm a little worried that once those Terminators do get in, wherever they go, they're going to be hitting stuff and hitting it hard and ripping through me. I just hope I can score enough points before that point, or kind of keep kicking until the end and try and win on the scoreboard.
Yep. Well, I'm not scoring any on this following turn, so you're...
So we got a lead, but we will be jumping into Space Marines turn 2.
Citing a high-priority Xenos unit, the Space Marines target the Von Ryan's Leapers with Oath of Moment. Looking to reinforce his brethren, the Terminator Captain arrives from reserve. The Terminator Captain then shoots at the Barbgaunts, but only manages to deal 1 damage, which is still more than the entire Tyranid army did last turn. Again, focusing his smite, the Librarian takes out 2 Von Ryan's Leapers. Looking to step up to the challenge, the Terminators use Veteran Instincts and split fire, but only deal 1 damage to both the Leapers and Barbgaunts. As the Terminators charge into combat, 1 unit of Termagants uses Hyperreactive, and the Terminators only take down a total of 5 bugs. On the other side of the battlefield, The Psychophage and Infernus Marines again fail to deal any damage to each other. The Winged Prime attacks and actually takes down a Terminator, then the Termagants fight, but again do absolutely nothing. Taking the fight to the Xenos on all sides, the Space Marines are tearing into their foe, but can only hope they'll be able to clear the enemy fast enough.
All right, so that was my turn. It wasn't the greatest turn. It wasn't terrible. I put some firepower into the Von Ryan's Leapers because they were probably my biggest threat. So I picked off 2 units of them and hurt the last guy, so they're now probably not so much of a threat anymore. Terminators had very few options because they were -2 movement because of the barb gaunts. So being 3-inch movement means you saunter forward and hope for a charge. They put some firepower into the barb gaunts as well as the Von Ryan's Leapers. Yeah. They finished off another barb gaunt and then they charged in. I had to use a CP reroll because -2 to charge as well, which that hurt. Not because I failed the charge, but because that CP was earmarked to get them reroll 1s to hit. I mean, reroll 1s to wound.
Yeah.
But they did get in, barely, and then they really didn't do much damage.
I did them, you put most of your attacks into 1 unit, and that's the unit that I did the -1 to hit.
But yeah, it was rough. So I killed 5 gaunts total with that big unit of Terminators. So I think that puts me in kind of a scary position because I'm just not killing the Tyranid bodies and I'm falling back on score because Terminators are only OC1, so I don't even take this objective even though it's swarmed by Terminators. Over here between the Psychophage and the Infernus,
nothing going on.
0 is happening. Neither of them can hurt each other. I mean, I think that's probably in your favor because relative to my army, like I have 2 threats and that's one of them is being tied up to him.
With a unit they don't want to be tied up with.
Yeah, and I mean, I could back out, but you'll just charge him again on your turn, so I'd just be backing away. So not a lot there. Terminator Captain came down, he shot barb gaunts, took a wound off a barb gaunt, and then he's just standing on the objective. So you can't command reroll this turn because I took that objective. And he's gonna sit there and try and hold that objective because I'm currently at 0 score still. And that puts me in a bad spot, but at least he's there.
Yeah. I had thought about like screening it out better. I moved up the Leapers thinking they could kind of flex either way. And thought about running the barb gaunts over, but I didn't because or moving them over. I didn't because they get +1 hit. Didn't matter. I should have done it in hindsight. But live and learn.
Yeah, I think it's fine. You're still in a really good position, and I don't know how to untangle the Terminators now because I don't think they have enough attacks to kill all those barb gaunts or all those normal gaunts before the game's over. So, but I mean, I had no choice. I had to go in. So
makes sense.
Tough spot, but yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Sounds good. We'll jump into Tyranids turn 3.
Retaining control of the 2 central objectives, the Tyranids score 10 points at the end of their command phase, and both the Von Ryan's Leaper and Barb Gaunt pass their battle shock test. The Winged Tyranid Prime tactically withdraws from combat to claim the enemy's home objective, which will also score their secondary mission. 1 unit of Termagants uses Teeming Broods and is replenished to full strength. The Barb Gaunt shoots at the Terminator Captain but can't even hit the Grizzled Marine. Unsurprisingly, the Psychophage also fails to deal any damage when it shoots. In combat, the Terminators use Veteran Instincts, and 1 unit of Termagants uses Hyper-Reactive, then 6 total Termagants are slain in the melee. The Infernus Marines then fail to deal any damage, but the Psychophage finally takes down 2 of them when he retaliates. The Termagants are last to fight, but still can't do any wounds to the Terminators. While the Tyranids hold firm, they also claim their enemy's home objective and score 5 points for Chitinous Tide.
Tyranids turn 3, and it is looking good on the scoreboard, and I'm kind of just holding well enough. Obviously, you've been my 2 elite units in the Barb Gaunts and Von Ryan Leapers. You've been whittling them down, but there was enough with both of them passing their battle shock. I was able to take the objective back. Because you're only OC1.
Yeah,
as the heroes seem to be.
OC1.
Yeah, so
tough.
Oh, for sure. So that is great for denying you just 10 points on your turn. Again, I could have covered it off better previously. Here, I brought back 4 Termagants with the ability.
Yep.
And then the other units kind of piling in as well. So I'm slowly getting there. Chipped 1 wound off a Terminator. Psychophage got 2 attacked and combat through finally, so took out 2 of the Infernus Marines, which is not as many as I would like, but it is what it is. So we are ending my turn. I also got 5 from secondary because it's to take an objective, near your territory. Did that. I don't think I'll be able to hold it for the next turn, but fingers crossed. And that's about it. See how long I can kind of hold these objectives before you clear them out.
Yep.
Going to Stormcast, turn 3.
Stormcast. Try again.
Going into Space Marines, turn 3.
Desperately needing to clear some objectives, the Space Marines target the Termagants with Oath of Moment. When the Tyranids' Shadow in the Warp causes the Infernus Marines to fail Battle Shock, they use a command reroll and pass in the end. The Psychophage fires Overwatch, but it only deals 1 damage to the Infernus Marines. The Terminator Captain shoots at the Leaper with no impact, so he then charges into combat, and while the Leaper fights first, it deals no damage. The first unit of Termagants then manage to finish off a Terminator, but the Terminators retaliate and kill a total of 8 of the bugs. Having used Heroic Intervention, the Winged Prime fights next and takes out both of the Infernus Marines. Slightly out of order, but the Terminator Commander attacks and is able to finish off both the Leaper and Barbgaunt. Securing the Xenos' home objective, the Terminator Captain completes their secondary mission, but the battle might still be getting out of reach.
All right, so it was an interesting turn. Captain over here charged in, killed the Lictor and the Barbgaunt, which was good. So he's got this objective back again, so I might actually score. The Infernus Marines had to retreat to try and save that objective. Unfortunately, it put them in Heroic Intervention range and they just died.
Yeah.
But they were probably going to die to him, so it's like, what do you do? Terminators are still plucking away. They killed them 1 Termagant unit down to 0, which means they're coming back next turn. And then the other unit's almost dead. And it looks like they hold the objective, but they're only OC1, and the Termagants are OC2, which means 2 Termagants in range.
4 Terminators.
Holds the objective. So I don't even flip this objective here. So going into your turn, you're going to score 25 without doing anything to my 0 still.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be spicy. We'll just jump into it. Going into Tyranids, turn 4.
Yep.
Barely holding on to the southern objective, the Tyranids score 15 points for the primary mission. As the bugs swarm and surround the Terminators, they also return a unit of 5 Termagants with teeming broods. As the Wing Prime charges into combat, the Terminators use Gene Rot Resilience, and the Prime is only able to take down 1 of them. The Terminators retaliate, killing 4 Termagants and dealing 3 wounds to the Winged Prime. Relentlessly harrying the Terminators, the Tyranids score another 5 points for Chitinous Tide and take a commanding lead of the battle.
Tyranids, turn 4, and we are just kind of running away with it at this point. Because I knew I could bring a unit back because I had one slain, I popped them over here, the Termagants over there, brought my Winged Tyranid Prime into combat, get him into some action. He finished off 1 of the Terminators, so again, I'm just whittling down that unit. You're whittling down my Termagants as well. I only have 1 left there. But since he's OC2, I will stop you from storing that objective. And again, just kind of sitting him back there to hold that one. Your hero's gonna store, but I just have such an advantage right now. Because of my bodies and my OC, I've been outscoring you all game and denying you, so it's worked out real well so far. Yeah, we'll just jump into Space Marines, turn 4.
Hoping to still salvage something from this battle, the Space Marines target the Winged Tyranid Prime with Oath of Moment, and they do score 10 points for the primary mission. Diving right into combat, the Terminators use Gene Rot Resilience as the Winged Prime attacks, but it still takes down another Terminator. With a last, desperate attack, the Terminators finish off the last Termagant, but only deal 1 wound to the Winged Prime. While there's little hope left, the Space Marines do manage to take control of the southern objective, at least for the moment.
Big Marine turn. I killed 1 model.
Yeah.
But I scored 15 points, and that's 15
more. Yeah, 10 for primary, and then Yeah.
That's 15 more points I'd scored in all the other turns combined. So
yeah, we thought your secondary was going to be like rather achievable, but I think because I flooded this objective so heavily, it just took you so long to take it.
Yeah, like in an ideal world, I would have flipped it. Like had the Inferno squads over there to roast Termagants and have the Terminators here. But
me having more units,
you have more units. You decide where stuff goes, not me. So it was just like Terminators slogging through Termagants. I mean, I have to kill them, virtually the whole unit. At OC2, I basically have to kill the whole unit. I mean, you're slowly wearing me down, but I mean, coming into your turn, you're gonna get another unit of Termagants back. Like, I'm not really making a ton of headway. Yes, I'm gonna deny you 5, but you're still gonna score 20. So
yeah,
there's no game left for me.
Well, no, I won't store because I don't. Oh yes,
yes, you'll get 20. Yeah. So
for secondary,
I think this is probably safe to call it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So we know what's gonna happen on my turn.
Yep.
Whether or not I whittle them down, I'm gonna, like you said, get 15 on primary, 5 at the end for the secondary objective, and whether or not they're alive, at best you're scoring 15 at the end of your turn 5, and I don't think you're not going to flip another objective. So
no, so that's probably it. It was interesting. I think as our first game, it's definitely a learning thing. We're in a this guy is fantastic because the
Cyclophage is just a good tank.
The only thing in my whole army that can threaten him is power fist attacks in melee, and that's a big commitment to spend the Terminators after him. And I don't think they'd one tap him. I think it would be 2 turns of power fist attacks, and that's a big commitment.
A 5-0 board on him, so it's
feel no pain.
Feel no pain, so tough to chew through.
So he's really tough to chew through. He can just do it as he pleases. He doesn't do a ton of damage, but he's just like there.
Yeah.
And then you just have so many other units, like the Terminators.
Even here, I get to bring another 2d6 unit of Termagants back.
Yeah, and the Terminators can only really do one, maybe we'll call it 2 things at once, because they could charge something and shoot something. And yeah, you can split fire, but there's just so much. And to your point, like at the start, I was like, my strategy is I'm gonna kill all the threat stuff because the Termagants are just come back anyway, so I might as well not waste shots into them. Maybe that was the wrong choice, but I think if I hadn't done that, then you've got Lictors and Barbgaunts carving.
Yeah, the Leapers. Yeah, that's tough because I don't know. Maybe it is still tough to chew through the Terminators, and if you rip through the Termagants, reduce my scoring, and then I come in and bounce off you for a bit, like.
Yeah, if you couldn't just bring them back and have a chance of having more than I killed.
That's fair.
That's where it's like, well,
as soon as you brought those 2 units forward, I'm maybe not turn 1, turn 2, but I'm eventually bringing those guys back on your back line.
And I don't have the tools to leave something on an objective. I have 3 units, so I think it's tough. I mean, there was some bad rolling at times, but I don't think it would have flipped it. I think this was just a challenging spot. You put me in a position where I wasn't optimized at what I was fighting. Yeah. And I think this is just a tough match. Because I have so much 2 damage stuff, and you're standing there with your 1 damage, one wound, 2 OC guys saying waste all your excess damage. Yeah, and it happened.
We've played a few test games now with Combat Patrol between a couple different armies, and it's definitely feeling like you're never gonna have perfect balance between any 2 of the of the Combat Patrols because they have different skills and abilities, as is normal in full 40K or AOS. So there's a bit of that of like matchups is a thing and what units are good at killing what things, but the balance I think more comes in like you play a bunch of different armies and you're gonna find ones that you match up better or worse against.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think the Marine one's bad. Like some of the other ones, I won't name names, feel bad. Like they just feel like outclassed by this stuff. But the Marines, I just feel like the tool set that you get in the Combat Patrol is not the right tool set to deal with a Tyranids.
Yeah.
So it puts them in a tough spot.
Yeah. Having the speed, the board control, bodies.
Yeah, and we talk about this. The Terminator Captain feels so irrelevant because there's only 1 unit he can join. It's the same one as the Librarian. They both can't join it. So he's just like this low damage, low mobility, just nothing. Yeah. And he killed a couple models in this game, and that's about all you can expect from him. And he's only OC1, so it's not like he can really flip objectives. He did in this case eventually, but he just feels like they should have left it at 1 hero, like every other one, I think, and put something else in. But maybe they couldn't find something cheap enough from the box because it would have to be the Redemptor or something. Maybe that was too much. But it just feels like he's just like a throwaway, and he's your third thing. And in a lot of these missions, this one's 4, there's some that are 5. And it's like, I have 3 units, one of who's a throwaway. 2 things can't control the whole board.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tough,
especially
tough thing.
again against an army like this.
Yeah.
Other thing, just to talk about Combat Patrol in general, obviously it's kind of designed to be like the introduction to 40K, which I think it does an exceedingly good job at. Ryan, you've been playing 40K for a long time. I played when I was younger, played the odd game with you over the past couple of years, but especially 9th edition was always like, I couldn't get into it. I only would intend to play 40K on like a semi-casual basis. Here and there, I would love to get more into it, but still so focused on AOS. But this, compared to when we used to play 9th, feels so much more digestible. Like, it took me 2 turns to pick up the army and get a sense of the rules. Obviously with a little help from your
yeah, of course.
Yourself,
and I mean, I'm messing stuff up because my brain still thinks 9th edition, and we look stuff. I was like, oh, that doesn't work this way, or that there were some games we had before this where we messed up a lot of stuff, but we figured it out now. I think we did pretty good today.
Yeah, for sure. And but I was just saying, I do love the Combat Patrol system for onboarding, but also like if it's just a nice not casual, but it's a nice kind of streamlined, smaller time investment game, right? Where. And I'm excited. I have an old Tau army from when Tau first came out. That's claim to fame, and I'm excited to get the Tau Combat Patrol painted up. And that's something that really intrigues me from a hobby perspective too, is to be able to like grab different boxes and paint up a couple units from an army.
And it's not like a 3-month process.
Exactly. So I think the Combat Patrol kind of design is a huge win by Games Workshop, and that's definitely like for me been the biggest draw into like kind of starting into 40K. So I hope it's something that they continue to support.
And we'll definitely get more games in and get more variety.
For sure. We got a few. I mentioned Tau. Ryan, you got a couple of Combat Patrols you're getting ready to bring out.
I've got Necrons, I got Demons. I've got this stuff because who didn't buy Leviathan? And so I actually have surprisingly few, given how many 40K armies I have. I looked through them all, and it's just like
not the actual stuff from the Combat
I'm like
Patrol
always
box,
I'm missing like 1 unit for like my Space Wolves, and I'm missing 1 unit for my Dark Angels, and I'm missing one unit from my Thousand Suns, and it's like unbelievable how I managed to not have any of these Combat Patrols, but it's fine. I mean, I'll paint some other stuff up, and we'll be moving to bigger games, of course, over time as well. So
but it was again fun time here. Nice to play a bit of a different game system and just get a small taste of 40K. So did enjoy it here, Ryan. It was a blast. Guys, again, this is something we're going to be slowly starting to dabble in with the channel, kind of slowly progressing. We're going to be asking for a lot of feedback in terms of what you're enjoying, what you're not liking, what you want to see. And like we've always done, just always asking for feedback and how we can improve. So we super appreciate any comments and feedback, and we look forward to seeing you in another battle report.